everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Content Alchemy. I am your host, Shelby Haggerden, and I will be joined today by some internal Made by Things members, including Matt, but two of our artists as well. Today we're talking a lot about the artist perspective on creating branded content, but we're doing it in a very fun format. The Newlywed Game, but with co-workers and content creation, because this is our Valentine's Day episode. And if you're watching at home in a visual format, you'll see some Valentine's Day stuff behind me. I even made a little personal little heart choker. But if you're just listening, just imagine that there's some hearts behind me. But before we get into the game, we invited some of our team members to answer questions about content marketing and what it's like to create that branded content from an artist's perspective. So the questions that we are answering today with two of the members of our team are: what are the primary considerations you take before starting a brand project? For example, how the established motion language or existing content may influence your choices. And how much autonomy do you believe an artist should have within a brand project? We have a couple of recorded responses from them, so we'll hear those and then we'll head right into the game.
I think the considerations I take before starting a brand project is obviously to look at the brand guidelines and make sure what I plan to do fits within those guidelines. And of course, it's important to listen to the client and understand their needs for the specific project. In terms of how much autonomy the artist should have, I think obviously the artist is a professional and it's part of their job to understand the needs of the client. But I think it gets weird when the client tries to take away that autonomy by doing the creative, doing the creative thinking for the artist when it is the artist's job at the end of the day. And I think the artist's job, as much as it is to pay attention to the brand and the clients, it is more than anything, I think, to pay attention to the audience and understand the audience's need and the voice needed in the project to cater to that audience. Like, you wouldn't do something super serious if kids are going to watch this project, for example. And of course, there's the consideration of the size of the client. Like, big clients have way stricter brand guidelines that it's more important for you to pay attention to. If it's a smaller client, then I think there's a lot more freedom that an artist has. And it makes sense, I think, when there's this big brand that needs to be consistent and have a consistent voice. There's obviously going to be less autonomy for the artist. But again, there's a limit to it where the artist can be held back from what they're capable of if they have to pay too much attention to what the clients say or exactly what color everything needs to be, like sticking exact to brand guidelines or motion guidelines. A little bit of that can help with creativity, but too much can definitely limit it.
Okay. Hey, so before starting a brand project, I pretty thoroughly research what they already have going on. I feel like I need to have a really deep understanding of the brand, look and feel before moving forward with any new ideas. Even with a total rebrand, I view changes as an evolution, which means you have to understand the past choices so then you can make your own choices moving forward. So a lot of this analysis phase could be described as understanding the vibe, which is more of an unconscious process. But you can understand it consciously just as breaking down the design principles and elements. So the stuff that they taught us in art school. So I'm an art director, illustrator, designer. So I'm concerned with all things visual. I'm not even going to touch on the other disciplines involved in branding. But anyway, if you develop a sharp sense of visual analysis, it's a lot easier to decide what you want to keep and evolve in a brand and then what you want to move on from. And a lot of this stuff during this phase of the process is just happening in my mind's eye. But there's a general sense of orientation that I gain throughout this process that then gives me the confidence to move forward to the next step. which is kind of the part we're more familiar with. The gathering inspiration, looking at other brands in the space, and putting together concepts and mood boards to present to the client.
All right, you just heard from Colin and Melissa on their takes on branded content marketing and kind of their mindset that they put themselves in when they are starting one of these projects. And now let's learn a little bit more about them and our game for the day. Okay, we're here. We're ready to play the game. I know. Woo, we're all here. We're all joined. I have decor. We are set. I made myself a choker because I am the host, so I have to be like Valentine's host over here. Anyway,
and there's only so much of you showing. So
I know I had to make it really short. It's like I got very little. I've got my strawberry sweater on, but like
Adorable.
You can barely see it. What can we do? Anyway, okay. I'm going to get into a little bit about the game. I will have you all introduce yourselves. However, the listeners have already heard a little bit about you from your answers to the big question. But we're just going to do a little rundown here. We are doing a magical... Oh my God. Okay. We are playing a magical... Oh my God, why can't I say magical?
That's magical. Magical.
Marital.
Magical.
I can't speak. We are playing a magical content creating coworkers game. Yes.
It's very magical.
Very magical. I don't like being bullied. Okay. We are playing what is essentially the Newlyweds Game. Traditionally, this game is played with newlyweds as they are quizzed on personal details about their spouse and see just how well they know each other. So, we are sticking with a Valentine's Day theme. But since none of us are married to each other, we are quizzing each other as coworkers and fellow artists. And since our theme is all about the artist's perspective on creating branded content, we are chatting with two of our resident artists on the Made by Things team. Artists, please introduce yourselves. We will start with Colin, as he was the first one here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Colin. I'm an animator at Made by Things. Been here for almost 6 years now. I don't know what else to say. I like traveling. I live in Denver. Used to foster dogs. I don't know.
Long walks on the beach.
This is supposed to be like
a... I like pina coladas, getting lost in the rain.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Hey, Melissa. I am an art director, illustrator, graphic designer at Made by Things. I'm working here for 3 years. So. And what about me? I have 3 chihuahuas. One was just on my lap and then she left, but she always likes to be in calls. She can hear as soon as I have a call starting and she wants to be in it. That one's Bambi.
Nice.
That's it.
Bambi the icon. Mm-hmm. Truly. All right. We are pinning.
My name is Matt.
Oh my gosh. You want to introduce yourself, Matt? I feel like they probably already know you if they've been listening. But go ahead, Matt. Who are you?
No, I was kidding. Go on. Let's start the game. I'm so excited right now. I can't even.
If you haven't been listening to the show, Matt, go ahead and give us a little bit of a rundown in case.
Yeah, I don't know this guy.
I am creative director at Made by Things. I have been working here for most of my life, it feels like. And I have dog, I have kids, I have wife, I have house.
I have dog, I have kid, I have wife, I have house, I have car.
I love lamp.
I love lamp.
Okay. We are pinning Matt, Melissa, and Colin against each other in a battle of who knows who the best. So how things will work, in case anyone's wondering at home how we're doing this remotely. If I asked what is Melissa's favorite food, Melissa would send me the message in a DM separately from Matt and Colin. And then Matt and Colin will send me their answers, again, separate from each other. Everyone's very individual. After both of them have answered, I will have them read their answers out loud. Melissa will tell us if it was correct or not. And if one of them gets it right, they get a point. And if they don't get it right, Melissa gets a point. As being the one. I know. No one here is allowed to answer purposefully difficult, because that is not a cool thing to do. We have to be honest with each other as coworkers, as a unit. Thank you. Okay, there will be 3 rounds total. Each person is asked 3 questions for a total of 9 questions. So you could technically get 9 points if you really tried. But yeah. Everyone ready?
Just a little background for everybody also. We are a pretty competitive bunch, and we like to win individually.
I don't know about me.
I know, I'm not either.
I think it's Colin and Matt against each other all the time.
Well, all right, let me go here real quick. When Colin first started working at Made by Things, well, pretty around when he first started, we found ourselves competing against things nearby, such as things like cornhole. There was a little setup right outside of our office, so we would go out there usually daily and play for probably far too long. And that's what sort of started our competitive relationship.
And I have a really hard time understanding game rules.
Relate. I tried to make this as simple as it could.
I think I got this one.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Took me a little while to figure out how to do it with 3s. I was going to do it in a team, but here we are. Okay. Let's do it. The first question, and this is going to be directed about Matt, but Melissa and Colin will be answering. What was Matt's first job in the industry? Matt, you got to send me your answer.
I'm going to send it to you.
Melissa, you answered first, so what was your answer?
I said Matt worked for the government as a CIA operative.
President of the United States.
Actually, you did some kind of marketing or creative work for a government agency, but I don't know.
Colin?
Department of Agriculture. I don't know. You just something boring.
I don't remember. Some sort of animation intern deal. I remember you didn't do much, but then you started to model at some point. I don't know the details.
Oh,
not human model, but model stuff.
No, then you went to Milan. You had a brief modeling stint.
Okay, so Colin, what you're thinking of is my internship that I had. I was a game tester, kind of.
Right. You were just talking about this.
And eventually worked my way all the way up to being able to make a couple of frames here and there. But that was an unpaid experience.
Oh.
That was a resume builder, as they called it. The first job that I had that I got paid to do creatively was for the United States Department of Energy.
Oh, so close!
And I was a multimedia artist.
I'm going to give it to Melissa, though. It was a department.
I think that's pretty close.
Works.
Listen, agriculture and energy. I mean,
that's close.
We need each other.
Yeah,
I guess.
That's close. I think that was pretty good.
He was good.
Matt just wants his point.
I know.
I think I got it.
I should get a point, but that's fine.
That's fine. Okay. This one is about Melissa. So Matt and Colin will answer. What was the first branded video Melissa worked on ever?
In my life?
Yes.
Repeat the
Whether it
question.
be industry, company, theme. And Melissa, I'm going to let you dictate this a little bit in case you don't remember. What was the first branded video Melissa worked on? So not just straight illustration, but video.
Do you know the answer? It would be... I don't want to give any hints, should I? No.
Awesome. Melissa, do you want to reveal?
I think we all know it's Provide.
Oh, that was my guess.
However, Colin was more specific. He said Provide brand film.
Yeah, with Addie.
With Addie. Yes, absolutely. Any other video work I had done previously was extremely limited or GIF animations or something. So that was really the first.
Let's dive into that for just a moment here. I want to derail the game here.
No, that is the point. Derail.
Because I'm curious. When I guess before you started working with us, you had just a pure illustration portfolio. And it was interesting because I was like, that's like the area, like me and Colin talked a bunch before you were added to the team and trying to figure out like, well, what should that role sort of be?
Right.
Of like, based on like the team that we kind of had at that moment, like who would be that missing puzzle piece kind of. And it was like we need a designer, and not just that, but it would be nice if somebody could illustrate as well.
Right.
So putting that out there, I will tell you, I was a little bit surprised at first because I was like, oh, okay, this person, she has absolutely no like motion experience on here. But the first project you get, I mean, obviously you know what we do, is that Provide project. What are some of the thoughts going through your head going into that project, especially it being your first one on the team?
On one hand, I was freaking out a little bit because I hadn't done it before, and obviously you want to deliver. Additionally, we had kind of like, maybe it was like a 2-week little trial period just to make sure like this wasn't a crazy idea, so I could work on this freelance a little bit. And I think that was like something mutually agreed upon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody wanted to be signing paperwork and then immediately like, wait, no shit, this sucks. It did not suck. I was nervous, but at the same time, I connected with you, Matt, so well that I felt on an interpersonal level, like really supported, and I did not feel like under the pressure cooker on the team, which is like a huge portion of it. So I knew that I'd have all the support that I needed. And I remember you also kept telling me, like, just don't worry too much about the technical stuff. Like, just do some art direction. We'll figure it out as we go, which is what we did. And it was very challenging just to, whatever. It's the first time you've ever done a video and you have to make a lot of frames. And I knew nothing about animation, so I'm sure it was just as difficult for Colin as it was for me. But yeah, I mean, I loved it. It was just everything was new. Like, it's just crazy that you trusted me to do that with a paying client.
Shifting it over to you, Colin, for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was the first time that you worked on the team and somebody other than myself designed something, I'm pretty sure. And well, there's projects that you did where you designed some things too.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of your thoughts going into that project?
Yeah, it was like, wow, these illustrations are incredible, but also how the hell am I going to animate with these Photoshop files?
Yeah.
Like, it was definitely like a lot of learning that had to happen. But I also remembered that, Melissa, you were out for like a week or two, right? And
yeah, I was like
that,
working for 2 weeks freelance and then out for like a week or something when we handed me the files. So it was just like, bye-bye.
Yeah. Like I know that I had to try to do some illustrations myself to match your style, and they were just terrible. I didn't know what I was doing. And it was like definitely like, oh man, I wish I could just focus on on animation. But I mean, it is still one of my like favorite videos we've done. So I don't know. It ended up really great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was something definitely special about that one that kind of changed everything for us. Like I feel like there's multiple, like over the last 10 years now, there's like little points that I would plot on a chart of like times where things completely changed.
Yeah.
And that was definitely one of them. It was those first like 2 or 3 weeks of December when you first started, because it was like we didn't feel like we knew what we were really doing. Like we had to do things completely different than how we've ever done them before. But also still try to make something really good at the same time. So I don't know. It seemed to work out.
It worked. I feel like it was such a gamble though. I don't know. Like,
you think so?
Look, you didn't technically have any proof that I could. You know, you've never even worked with me before. So the fact I'm a new person and this is a fully new task. I don't know. It's almost like bandmates meeting for the first time and you just have to like jam together and like hope that you can all like keep the volleyball in the air or whatever.
Right.
And you're basically working with a complete stranger. So like, hope you do your part.
I don't think I was worried at all. Yeah, like Melissa said, what we did was just kind of like a 2-week freelance trial just to see if this is something that would work. And I would say within 3 or 4 days, I was convinced, because it was like, oh, okay, we have something here that I can't do myself. And like that was part of the goal of growing the team, is that like I don't just want like people that can do what I do or have the exact
Right.
same like decision making and taste as I do. Like I want somebody that offers something unique, and from a design illustration perspective anyway. And yeah, I thought it was, I wasn't scared.
You weren't working on it.
It's true. I was the one making the promises though, that like this thing's gonna be awesome.
Oh my god, it was really great. It was really, like, obviously there's things I would change, just hindsight, like of course there's things I would change, but that project went really well, like shockingly well, just considering everything. I did feel really bad about the files, so Colin, I had no, I'm like, I know these aren't good, but I don't know how to do them correctly or better, so like, sorry.
I feel like at that point I was just so excited to be working with someone who was like specifically an illustrator, because I'd worked with my own files and I'm not very good at designing stuff, so it was always like sad that I couldn't push it further. And Matt's good too, but like that's not his, like, his specialty either, and like we did the short film in 2019 where we worked with our intern who was an illustrator, and that was really fun. And like I feel like at that point where we did the Provide project, I was craving that again, and then like having someone full-time on the team was really exciting for me.
Good times.
It was fun.
So speaking of some of Colin's favorite moments from working at Made by Things too, what is Colin's favorite project he's ever worked on at Made by Things?
Colin, do you have a clear answer?
Not super clear. It's between two right now in my mind.
Just choose the one that I just... I'm pretty sure I have like 50 points right now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Going to the scorekeeper, I have 50?
Yes,
okay,
100% 50.
Yeah.
Maybe 52.
Everybody else has like half a point maybe? I can't remember.
We are at a 3-way tie currently. One of one.
That doesn't sound right at all.
This is tough. Let me think.
I'm thinking of change my answer, but
Oh, don't do that. Well, I gotta change mine then, probably. I should have got the version of Slack where I can spy on all of you.
No, I'll keep it.
Good answer.
Do you know what just plopped into my head? My mama's gumbo.
We're gonna need some explanation on that from Colin after the answer.
Okay. Melissa, what's your answer?
My joking answer is Mr. Monopoly. Whatever this situation is with the pressure washer right now, but I don't think. Provide magic?
Matt?
That is a good answer. I'm gonna say it's the short film. Where are you now?
Colin?
That's
You
also a
didn't
good
say
answer.
that.
I said Provide magic. Melissa's
Oh
right.
no!
No way!
Yeah.
Oh, I thought for sure that wasn't going to be it, but there's a lot of projects you've worked on that I haven't worked on, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to stick to ones that I know we've worked on together. Awesome.
Before
Colin.
you go into that, my mama's gumbo.
My mama's gumbo. Oh, it's a project where we were given files, and I was just doing animation on these like really heavy illustrated files, and we already had audio to play in the After Effects file that I was animating to. And there was one specific scene where the character is like eating a bunch of food and talking about her mama's gumbo. And while I was playing it back, since the file was so heavy, it was so slow, and I had to listen to it over and over, and it was my mama's gumbo like 200 times every day. It was a nightmare.
That happens in After Effects, but for me, it just like it's like you don't hear it at all at a certain point, you know, you tune it out, but then occasionally it like cracks through again where do you know what I mean? It hits you and it becomes hilarious.
Yeah.
Colin, can you tell us a little bit more about what Provide Magic is?
No. Yeah, it's a no. It was like a much longer term project with fully 3D characters and like scenes, and it's like the script was like a treasure hunt and really fantasy land and fun, and there were 5 unique characters, and it was just such like a big collaborative project where everyone who worked on it was specializing in something. Like Melissa did the style frames, and Yusef did the modeling, which he was really good at, and I could focus on animation, and it was just like everything came together so well, and I loved all the animation I did on it. It was between this and the Lightspeed brand video, because that one was another one with a similar kind of idea, but a lot more 2D animation, which I tend to like 2D animation more these days, but I think Provide Magic just eked it out a bit because it was just fun the whole way. It was the kind of project where at the end of the day I wanted to just keep working on it.
Yeah. I think that was one of our most creative projects ever in terms of art direction and script. Shelby had a huge role in the script portion. Yeah, like everyone really got to specialize in what they're best at. It was cool.
Yeah, that was a special one.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to watch anything that we are mentioning, I will have links to everything in the description if you are listening and wondering what things look like. But yeah, I had a really, really fun time working on that, especially with the script.
And there was that one like 5-way split screen where they had like
that was so fun.
We had some really cool like cinematic kind of goofy moments that we got to play with, and it's just amazing that the client Provide like lets us play that much. They're the best. They're the best because it makes the videos so much more entertaining, so much more full of life. I wish all clients would have like that degree of trust, but not all brands are, you know.
Right.
That wouldn't be the right answer for all brands. But.
Right. It was a special scenario where we knew we were going to make another video, and they were going through some kind of brand changes. And for them, they were like, what do you guys want to do? Like if you kind of had your pick of like how you would do this. And it's really cool because we don't always get a chance to really show what we're capable of as a creative team. And that was one of those moments where it's like, all right, we have all the ability in the world. Like, what do we do? And how do we organize it? And I don't know, like you can almost think it was going to be like the whole like creative block of a blank canvas because we had literally unlimited options. But I think that looking back on that project, like I don't think there was ever really a moment where we were not sure of what this should be. Mm-hmm. Like we were pretty clear right up front that, okay, this is going to be 3D. Well, we take some of what worked in the past.
We didn't know it was going to be 3D at first. Right. I'm choking on my own spit. We had a really like wide range of art direction.
Yep.
Back over to Matt. If Matt wasn't in a marketing or an artistic field, what would he be doing instead? And would it be called something thing? This is so fascinating. Melissa, we were in the same headspace for this.
Yeah.
So, Melissa, what is your answer?
You would run a restaurant called Pizza Thing.
Oh.
Colin, what's yours?
I said you would be BMX things.
Cool.
Matt, what's your answer?
I said landscaping thing.
I think Katie would have got that one right.
She would have. I have this running joke that's if we can't do our best work on something, then let's just close the whole thing down and just do a landscaping business instead, because at least
I
we'd
would
be able to be outside at that
that.
point. Right? So yeah, that's kind of the running joke is
Do you have a passion for landscaping?
not at all.
Oh.
But if I could be outside, I could not be like the boss, you know. I couldn't lead that effort.
Gotcha.
But if somebody told me what to do, I bet I could.
That's an
Probably
effort
figure it
Melissa
out.
could lead.
I
I
would
might
love, like, I think if I had to do a new career, like right now, not like if I had to choose when I was 18 or something, I would probably study some kind of like horticulture and do like plants and design at, you know, the intersection of
Interesting.
those two things. Plus I love being outside. Like I don't just love the design part. I love like crawling around in the dirt in my overalls. Not even joking.
I did like the pizza restaurant idea. I would not be surprised if at some point in my life I find a way to make that one happen.
I think so.
Because I like making pizza. It's not very good. I don't think so. I think it's like perfectly okay, but there's something really special about pizza where it's so simple to make it, but it's so difficult to master. Where it's like you have like 4 ingredients. All pizza basically has these like 4 ingredients, and there's so many other things. Sorry, this is turning into a pizza podcast, but like if you
Pizza pod.
pizza pod, depending on the temperature, depending on the humidity in the room that you're making it in, like everything affects how it turns out. So even whenever I feel like I make it the exact same way each time, it's always like a little different. Sometimes it like surprises me a little bit where I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But I feel a little bit like a scientist in a way.
Do you log your variables?
I do. For
I know
the
you
most
do.
part, I do.
Of course you do.
Every so often I'll get like too into it and I'll just be like, all right, I'm just going to make something from a like recipe book, like just to like kind of clear my palate.
Recalibrate, yeah.
Right. I did I think it was the year 3 video, maybe. Colin edited that one. The book that I put in there was the one I've been using lately, and there's like, I don't know, probably 30 different recipes for like different kinds of pizza, and I don't know, it's fun. But I would love that idea and maybe that opportunity at one point, maybe after I retire.
Get a new career after you retire.
Yeah.
I will never stop working, right?
Yeah.
But I would love. I always talk about this like idea where it's really special that what we do, we don't often choose it because of the money aspect of things, right? We choose it because it's something that we truly enjoy doing. However, I think that when someone parts ways with their money, that is the ultimate validation that you are doing a good job in what you've decided to do. Like there is no compliment that anyone could give me that would be more of a compliment than somebody actually giving me a check and saying like, wow, you guys do great at this stuff, and like here's money to keep doing it, right? That's kind of the I don't know. It's weird how I think about that, but there's something really special, I think, to the world of food and restaurants where it's not as expensive as getting an animated video made, but it's kind of that same idea still where maybe it's a little bit Darwinist, but if you are not a good restaurant, you do not survive. And there's a lot of little factors that go into that, but that's something that always fascinates me about the food industry. And truly, it's something that I try to find a lot of inspiration from in what we do. And a lot of the silly ideas that we have, sometimes I pull from stuff like that. Like we did when we did Things by Things. we started talking about food things, and one thing led to another, and the whole thing is basically like a food menu of video content ideas. And yeah, I don't know. There's just it's a really tough industry, and it's one that I think is really fascinating.
Excellent answer.
That's a good answer.
Thanks. That's my podcast answer.
Yeah.
For Melissa, what is Melissa's favorite character she's ever created at Made by Things?
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Okay. Colin, you first.
I said the green creative little monsters fella with the hat.
Oh, that's a good answer.
I love him.
I love him too.
Matt?
I
what's
said
yours?
the intern, the one that you just recently did.
Okay, I said it's a tie between Veronica from Tarani or the intern.
Mm.
I didn't even think of Creative Little Monsters, but I love that green guy, and he's my favorite
He's
from
got a
the
little
Creative
cowboy
Little
hat on him,
Monsters.
and boots.
So cute.
Yeah.
So cute. We love him. Yeah, that's a great answer. Well, okay, so Veronica came to mind because she's actually based on a real person, which is like such a rare thing to I don't know. I guess I never even expected that opportunity to come up, that I would be depicting a real person's life story. So I felt really like, I don't know, honored to get to do that. And I also just like love the design of that character. I don't know. There's just certain designs, certain illustrations I make where I keep looking back at them and I just feel very pleased. Like everything about it, the shapes and the proportions and the hair and the tattoos, and just really love that one. And then the intern is very recent, and I don't even think she is released to the public
She's
yet.
not even public
No.
yet.
She's not even public. But she was just so much fun because we got to really play. And so she's the Gen Z intern. Okay. And I got to do a lot of research into the trends and fashions and hairstyles and whatever of people who are, I don't know, intern age, so like early 20s, and I happen to really like fashion and trends, and I mean that's part of being an art director, is like that usually is more pertaining to the design world, but all that stuff is so completely intertwined, especially when you're designing characters, or even if you're working with like photography of people, like what are they wearing, how are they styled. I notice that stuff like all the time in commercials, obviously, like in movies or TV. And yeah, I have like a personal interest in fashion as well. I like interior design as well, right? And all those things like merge together when you're designing environments and characters. And it's cool too when it extends beyond just like my personal tastes. I'm kind of a nerd. I like researching things. It's a huge part of illustration, is like looking into the history, context of whatever it is you're representing. And a lot of times things are pretty like specialized too. We've worked with all sorts of clients in all sorts of fields. Like we have a roofing client, not the sexiest client, but like, okay, I have to learn about roof types, which isn't that interesting, but I always love, I don't know, getting that opportunity to like dig into some info.
I will say too, Melissa has some really good breakdowns of some character designs on our social media, which I will link as well if you wanted to see her character design process.
Those are probably my favorite, like some of my favorite content to make, because it's just such a fun, I don't know, like lively process. So.
All right. About Colin. What would Colin be doing if he wasn't at work right now? Matt, you first.
Running.
Melissa.
Hiking.
Colin.
Run hiking.
Colin sitting on the couch.
Well, running is after work today, but I said hiking probably. So Melissa again.
Yes!
So close.
The non-competitive one is crushing
Yeah.
it. Okay,
This
cool.
game is rigged.
Is hiking more of a passion, and running? I feel like running can
Yeah.
be this like love-hate thing for people.
For sure. Yeah, running. It's just more to be fit, I think. And like
Yeah.
I've challenged myself to run a marathon this year, which is why like I'm running now. But hiking is actually fun for me. Like
Oh my
running,
God.
it's nice to have time to listen to a podcast and feel like my body can do this. But hiking is just so special to go out into nature and be among all that
Yeah.
spectacular stuff.
Do you feel more creative, I guess, when you do things like running and hiking?
Maybe not running, but I think hiking for sure. Like I do tend to just like look at where I'm hiking or the
Yeah.
like landscape or environment and imagine what it would be like animated or just like observe and see how stuff moves and all that kind of stuff.
Same question to you, Melissa.
I feel like this is a really big question. I don't think I'm ever, if I'm really truly present when I'm doing like a physical task, like hiking. I like hiking. I also really love mountain biking. What I love about mountain biking is I'm not thinking at all. And I'm a very like thinky person. I have a like very nonstop internal monologue. And I think there are people who don't live like that at all and live almost like, this is going to sound bad, but like how dogs are. They're just so present and they're just living in physical experiences and like sense experiences, you know? Like an athlete is like, obviously they're thinking. It's not that they're dumb. It's just that their skill like lies in their body rather than like in their inner monologue. So what I'd like is that I'm not thinking, but like I need that balance in my life or I'm going to go crazy. However, I do get inspired by nature. I really like the colors in nature. I really exercise my like observational skills when I'm out in nature. I love noticing things. Like I was driving yesterday and my husband had to like tell me to pay attention to the road because I was like, oh my God, look at the moon. You know? So that's a skill directly tied to design. Absolutely. It's just observing the things around you and breaking down their qualities into little pieces.
One of the reasons that I started running, I mean, this is probably like 17 years ago now. I think it was around then. Was because I was just thinking too much and I couldn't like sort my thoughts. As somebody that has no internal dialogue, it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like a grocery bag full of stuff. Just, and you're trying to like walk quickly with it. And I don't know, it's just mostly like kind of feeling based. So for me, it was, once you get over the initial like exhaustion of it, like, cause at first I don't think you're able to really think. Like you have to just try to survive. Like you're just trying to make sure you're breathing. And once you get beyond that, I can like think, it's almost like I'm putting everything in a line and being able to just think about one thing at a time and just go on to the next thing. And the next thing I know, I've run a mile and a half and I'm like, it's kind of creepy sometimes because I'm like, I have no idea how I got here. Like I just was running and I kind of blacked out and I'm like back now. But yeah, I just sorting through thoughts. Like I would say for me, like running does not necessarily make me more creative. It just helps me manage the stress of it all, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my God. I could talk about like physical, like exercise and some of it, yeah, like hiking or being in nature or just like doing a task. Like I do a lot of DIY stuff and like gardening and that kind of thing. But then also fitness. Like I just love, that's like not a popular topic in the design world.
For sure.
Us computer people.
But I think it does play a pretty important role in all of this stuff. Like I often think that the secret to being creative is to find a way to make everything personal. everyone talks about like how there should be a balance between work and life. And for me, I'm like, no. It's really about like, how do you operate while kind of using the other at the same time?
Well, you can bring like your full person to work. Like we all kind of have our professional modes, obviously, but I know a lot of people who go to work have to just like leave themselves at home entirely, which seems really difficult to me. I would struggle with that. Okay, one thing to say that's important. I had a big goal this year, and I already achieved it.
Did you do the splits?
I did the splits last
Whoa.
week.
Did you really?
Nice. It was really hard. Not comfortable. But I did it. My ultimate goal is I want to be able to go from standing up to just like slide into the splits. You know what I mean? Like in an effortless fashion. This
You
was
just
not
want to be in line at
effortless.
Starbucks one day and just be like,
Exactly.
"Boom, what's up?"
Thanks. Hit the splits.
What's your name? My friends call me Splits.
Exactly.
Which type of splits is it? Is it like this way or this way?
Not like, yeah, where you have one leg forward, one leg back.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can only do it with my right leg forward and my left leg back, because one leg you're working your hip flexor and one leg you're working your hamstring, glute, calf. So, and most people are like kind of uneven, on what's more flexible. So
My embarrassing and related goal is to touch my toes.
Ah!
Which I'm almost there.
Good, you can do it.
Bend your knees, you can do it pretty easily.
Yeah.
Truth. That would be scary. Can't touch him at all. Doesn't matter how much he bends his knees. That'd be bad. You can do it. I trust you.
Thank
I
you.
believe in you.
I'm very close. I used to be so far, and I've been pretty good recently, just because I've been like trying to stretch so much more because I've been running more.
Just like general stretching. You don't have a specific like routine.
Well, yeah, no routine, but a lot more
Okay.
like hamstrings and calf stretches.
Yeah.
Because I got shin splints for a little while, and I don't want those again.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, great question.
No bueno.
Yeah.
We are 2/3 through, friends. So we
Do a
are
speed round.
currently, Matt, you have 3. Melissa, you have 3.
300.
Colin, you have 1.
Oh my god, I might do
Whoa.
it.
Colin
Yeah.
could still win, though.
Yeah, I'll bring it back.
You can still take it.
Bring it back.
And
Let's do speed round.
we're gonna start. What kind of content do you think Matt thinks more brands should have?
All right, what are the answers?
Answers? Colin, you first.
I said emotional content that, hits your emotions.
Melissa.
I said story-based video content because that's what we do. But I don't know, how do you like what? There's so many. What are the types of content?
Mm-hmm. Matt.
I think it's a combination of what both of you said.
I think so, too.
I put brand films.
Right.
Being able to find the stories. I mean, sometimes making them up, but there's something really special about finding them. I think that every brand has them somewhere. And we're about to start working with another company that it was really interesting how we had these conversations, because I'm basically asking like, all right, where are the stories? Who has the stories? And they're like, well, actually, like there's a lot. And I'm like, okay, well, let's gather them, because I would much rather find the story than to just try to make something up off the top of my head. And I talk about like the provide Addy video, and I'm like, well, that one seemed like it was something that was completely made up, but like the first draft of that script was basically like me. It was a story about me, and just sort of like how I relate to the same struggles that somebody that's trying to be a doctor might try to do. Not obviously, we're not the same. One of those is much more hard than the other, but
They work way less hard than you.
right. But anyway, so there's something in finding the story to understand. Shelby was sort of talking about it, Melissa, you're sort of talking about it, of like the idea of like digging into brands and like just uncovering stuff, almost like an archaeologist of sorts. So there's something really special about that. And then to be able to synthesize and tell those stories in a way that nobody else would dare tell that same story. That's the stuff that I want to do. And it's mostly because I believe that's the kind of stuff that can make people really care about this stuff. Like if we're to make something that somebody's supposed to care about, then we must care about it when we're making it. And it is tough to do that sometimes, like depending on kind of what the project is. Sometimes it needs to be like really brand heavy and we don't really get an opportunity to tell those stories. And those things have a place too, but at the end of the day, if the goal is to make people stop and watch the things that we're making, then it's to tell good brand films.
So who gets the point?
I'm giving it to both Melissa and Colin. So
maybe I should get a point too, you think?
I got it right, Matt. I'm sorry. Too clear. Okay.
I'm gonna start playing dirty.
I know. I'm nervous. Melissa, what step does Melissa wish more brands would take in their process of developing new content? For example, regularly updating brand guides. Okay, this is interesting. So, Matt, what was your answer?
Maybe not necessarily a process kind of thing, but to be open-minded.
Colin?
Yeah, mine was similar. It's also not much of a process, but more open to expanding their brand. And
I love it. Okay, my answer, I guess, isn't those answers, but that's sort of part of it. I don't know. I said the art direction, as we're calling it, playtime phase, which is about being more open, really, to possibilities and seeing how we can take what they already have and expand it into something bigger and better and a little different, because we're frequently not working with like the core branding. We're frequently working with kind of spin-offs, I guess you could say, and like video and illustration is a really, really great place for a brand to just like bring a little more personality. It's not like the logo, it's not the core branding that everyone sees, but it just adds so much. And I wish there's a lot of brands who are, very willing to put a lot of thought into that, but some get scared. But then my other answer is also just give us your footage. That's what I wish more brands would do. Just give us your footage. Please. Stop hoarding your footage. We need it.
My recommendation based on that, everyone should have a footage video content library ready to go, ready to share. That's a good recommendation. All right, Melissa, based on the open-minded comment, which do you think they deserve the point? Yes or no?
I think they do. I mean, these are kind of tough questions in the sense that a lot of these things don't have like official names to them or titles, like what part of the process? But yeah, the open-mindedness in the art direction phase.
This is the last question. It's about Colin, and it's personally my favorite question on here because it's goofy. If Colin's vibe was a piece of content marketing or content marketing adjacent, what would it be? What does that mean? For example, perhaps Colin's vibe is very organized, so maybe he is like a set of brand guides. Or if he's living a very cinematic lifestyle, maybe he's something like a brand film. What vibe matches Colin?
You kidding me?
This is very, reflect on yourself, Colin.
Yeah.
That's hard even for Colin. Colin would be a social media template because he's so boring. It's horrible. Oh my god. A piece of content?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty proud of my answer here. Okay. I know he's not going to say it, but...
Right. This is a crapshoot.
Oh, I said it to Katie. She's so confused right now.
Ignore.
Matt, you're the first one. And also, I love that this got sent to Katie. What did you say?
I said, he's a blog.
No context is great.
I just think it's a funny word and just a funny name to call somebody. You're such a blog. No real reason.
Oh my God. That's the answer you're so proud of?
Yeah. You got something better? Let's hear it.
I do. I said he would be a cinematic travel video with beautiful color grading and a city pop soundtrack.
That's pretty good.
Colin.
That's really good. That's better than mine. I said like a LUT.
You know what?
Just like the.
That's so
Maybe
close,
that's not
though.
branded content. Yeah, it is close.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like a organized, like I don't know what goes behind a LUT, but just an organized thing that you can put on footage to make it look nice. That has, I think Melissa gets it.
Melissa's answer was pretty good.
I think that's pretty similar. I mean, Melissa was
To a
mentioning
blog?
color grading, and I think that fits. Okay. That means dun-da-da, Melissa's our winner.
That's. I want to recount.
I never win. Oh my gosh. Finally.
Melissa is our winner today, followed by Matt and then Colin.
Sorry, Colin.
But I think everyone
It's
did a
okay.
great job.
Everyone's
Because
a winner.
everyone
Everyone's a
knows me
winner.
so well.
Okay.
I didn't get points from
I
that.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an open book.
Yeah. You're a blog.
Yeah.
I don't think I didn't get a quirky question. Mine were all business as usual.
Do we want to do one more?
No, I gotta go.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
What's
Okay,
your favorite food?
So, yeah, what is Melissa's favorite food?
Let's
Shout
go.
I give an emoji. No, I gave an emoji hint in
Salad.
the team question.
In what?
Chickpea salad.
No, I put a loaf of bread. Bread's my favorite food.
Bread.
Boo.
All right.
All right. Since Matt has to go, Matt, do you have a moment for Sesame Street time or no?
No.
Okay.
Gnocchi.
I'll do it myself. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for participating. I appreciate that. Made by Things is going on tour. In their new event series, Content Adventure, Made by Things will be bringing their expertise in content creation to a city near you. Join us for a small group session designed for passionate marketers as we take you on a journey to discuss all aspects of content, sharing strategies, scenarios, and tactics. But that's not all. You'll also get to meet new connections through our collaborative quests and activities. Learn more about Content Adventure and get a full listing of all our tour dates at things.madebythings.com. Let's rock! Okay, Matt had to leave us, partially because I think he was sore that Melissa won. But a Sesame Street moment. What did we learn about each other today? Anything new? Do we feel closer?
I always feel closer when we talk. I love picking people's brains. I love learning more about the people I work. Like, I wish I could submit a long questionnaire to all of my coworkers about all of their opinions and their hobbies and their preferences and their tastes.
Yes.
And their family and where they live and where they used to live. And just like, I want to know everything. So I love doing anything like this. And I also think it's cool to discuss content and marketing a little more, discuss it a little more directly, because we're also we're always so focused on the creative side of it that the like greater strategies and then like the end use of what we're creating, it doesn't always come up in conversation. You know, it's important, it's behind it all, but we're not always talking about it directly.
I think it's a
I feel like
helpful.
we all have pretty similar ideas with content and like what we need from clients and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, like Melissa said, we're pretty focused on the actual creation of stuff most of the time. But it's only in situations like this where we actually get to talk about it and hear everyone else's opinion.
And I think it's something too that I don't think that usually artists are really able like to share that opinion very much too. Just in a broader sense. I mean, we have like our retrospectives internally. So I think that this is a helpful thing to, if anyone's maybe not on this side, they can kind of learn a little bit more about what's going on inside the studio and how things are being made, how the sausage gets made. The room where it happens. Okay.
Mhm.
Really want to thank everyone for listening. This is just a fun episode, especially for us to be able to get together and, kind of dive into, not only our team dynamics, but really how we all view the content that we're creating. I think it is very helpful, I think, for brands and other studios too, to just hear, what is the artist's perspective on what we're creating, especially branded work. I think sometimes you can get a reputation of, oh, well, it's not true creative, but it really is. And I think this is a lot of fun, and I hope it's eye-opening. But also, it's Valentine's Day. Have a good time. All right. I will see you all in a couple of weeks. But until then, stay magical. Content Alchemy is presented by Made by Things. To learn more about us, check out madebythings.com. And if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, send us a message at alchemy@madebythings.com.